Hey, what's up? Todd here, and I'm bringing you your Mission Impossible for this month. This particular mission is designed to eliminate one of the single biggest sticking points I see in anyone at sort of in beginner or intermediate levels of game. So it's a really great one, but what I want to talk to you about really quickly is exactly what to do once I give you this information, because for many of you, it may be your first Mission Impossible with Valentine University. So there are basically 4 steps. First is watch the video. Second is go out in field and do the mission as described in the video. Third is come back and report on the mission. And fourth is I will look at your reports and I will actually give you feedback. I will actually go through your missions, read them, and give you exactly what I think your sticking points are, what you're doing well, what you might want to work on in future, et cetera, et cetera. So it's your opportunity to get unique feedback from me. So go ahead, go through that process. All right. So this month's mission, very simply, is you're going to go out and you're going to game, but you have a restriction on what you're allowed to say for the night. And that restriction is you are not allowed to ask questions at all, ever, period. Okay? The idea here is that most guys, when they walk into an interaction with a girl, they're sort of trying to drag value out of her, and they're trying to get into her party rather than bringing their own party. So when you're asking girls questions, where are you from, what do you do, why are you here, that kind of stuff, it's making her inherently cooler than you, and it's saying that whatever's going on with her is more important than whatever's going on with you. It's also not bringing a lot of value, and is not conveying a lot of your personality or even a lot of unique information in any way to the interaction. On the other hand, when you make statements, you by necessity are talking from your own perspective, giving your own values and insights and ideas, and you are by nature leading the conversation and creating your own party to drag her into it. So that's the beauty of making statements rather than asking questions. So that's why this mission exists, of not asking questions. Now, how are you going to go about doing this mission in the most appropriate way? Well, first and foremost, just go do it and experiment with it and see what happens. But I'll give you a few suggestions if you happen to run into some hurdles along the way. It may be that you reach a place where you really want to ask questions. I can't think of what to say, and then you're going to ask a question. Actually, that's why a lot of guys do ask questions early on set, is their mind is drawing a blank. If you're at this point, rather than asking the question you want to ask, you can still kind of have that same conversation by either answering the question or implying the answer to the question. So instead of where are you from, you could say, I'm actually from Colorado. It's a really small, innocent town, and so that's why I'm, such a sweet, nice boy as you see before you, right? So you could answer the question, or the other is you could imply the answer to the question. So instead of where are you from, you could say, you know what, you don't seem like you're from around here. You seem like more of an East Coast person. Or be like, you know what, you're totally a Vegas girl. It's so clear in your vibe. Those sorts of things, we're making implication. It doesn't matter really if you're right or you're wrong. Although if you'd like to, you can soften the implication, be like, there's a part of me that thinks you might be like a Vegas girl, but I'm really not entirely sure that you have like a unique air about you, right? And now it's becoming more interesting. You are conveying your personality, you're conveying your own thoughts, your own perspective. And also you're making it kind of relevant to them. Because think to yourself, how many times have you been asked in your life, where are you from? It's probably a really boring question that you almost like, okay, well, I guess I'll answer it, right? But if someone said, you don't seem like you're from around here, that would probably pique your curiosity. You'd be like, wait, where does it seem like I'm from? What do you mean? What's someone from around here from? What is that personality? What's going on here? And so it's inherently making the conversation just that 10% more interesting. And that's what I talk about in a lot of my videos, right? Don't try and do anything amazing. Don't try and do anything outlandish. Just be 10% more interesting than the average guy. And this is one technique to do that, okay? So make statements rather than ask questions. Another one that you can use that's a really good technique is I'm curious about, or I'm curious as to, right? It's just a more powerful statement of the same question. So instead of what made you decide to go into the field of medicine? You say, I'm curious as to why you would make that decision. It's, it's a very interesting decision for you. Something like that, right? It's just making a more powerful thing. It's, again, giving your perspective. And again, it's adding to the conversation, offering value rather than taking value, okay? So go out and do this. The 2 times where it may be hard is, number 1, right off the open. You may have I can't think of something to say, in which case, feel free to say the same thing you would as a question, but change it. Also, for that particular sticking point, lower your criteria for what comes out of your mouth. Realize that most conversations are not quotable things that will be remembered 300 years from now. They're not that great, okay? Just spit it out, do the best you can, and trust that it'll be good enough because it came from you. That's it. And if it's not, you can always apologize or change it up later. It's better to spit it out and edit it later than to be sitting here, what do I say, what do I say, what do I say, and in the end saying nothing. The second place this might be difficult is once you transition from the value phase of the conversation, where like you're just conveying your personality and there's not really a lot of connection, to where she's opening up, asking you questions, really carrying the conversation a bit, it may become very natural to ask her questions. And in a normal interaction, this would actually be totally fine. But I want you to really hone in on the skill. So even here, try and keep making those statements. And that's when you use those "I'm curious" statements, or "that must have been really interesting for you" statements, right? So instead of just like prodding for more information, you're prodding for that information, but you're giving a little unique perspective on top of it, okay? So again, go out, do the mission, report back, and I will follow up and give feedback on your reports. So again, this is your opportunity to get feedback from me. Take advantage of it.